Imagine standing in front of someone you love, someone you lost, and asking yourself one question you've never been able to answer: will I ever see you again? Will I even recognize you? Or will you just be a memory fading into eternity? You, the kind that fills a room after everyone leaves, after the funeral ends, after the last hug, when reality finally settles in and you realize they're not coming back. Not today, not tomorrow, not the way you want them to. The chair they used to sit in feels different now. Their voice, it's still in your mind, but it's quieter, like it's slowly drifting away. And maybe these past few nights you haven't been sleeping the same. You close your eyes, but your mind won't rest. It replays moments, conversations, the last time you saw them, the last thing they said, and sometimes you wonder, did I know that would be the last time? There's a kind of ache that words can't fully explain. It's not just missing someone, it's missing everything about them. Their presence, their laughter, the way they understood you without needing you to explain. And now there's this space, this absence, that nothing seems to fill. And in the middle of all that pain, this question quietly rises. Sometimes in the dark, sometimes in the middle of your day, sometimes when you least expect it, will I recognize them in heaven? Not just see them, but know them. Will their face still feel familiar? Will their voice still sound like home? Will they look at you and know exactly who you are? Or will everything be different? And maybe you've been afraid to even ask that question out loud. Because what if the answer isn't what you hope? What if heaven means letting go, even of the people you love the most? Stay with me, because what the Bible actually reveals about this is not what most people think, and it might change the way you see everything. Here's what most people don't realize. The Bible doesn't describe heaven as a place where we lose ourselves. It describes it as a place where things finally make sense, where what was broken is restored, where what felt incomplete becomes whole. There's a story in the Gospel of Luke about a rich man and a man named Lazarus. And after they both pass away, something unexpected happens. The rich man recognizes Lazarus, not vaguely, not like a distant stranger, but clearly. He remembers him. He even remembers his own life, his choices, his past. Think about that for a moment. Memory didn't disappear. Identity didn't vanish. Awareness didn't fade. Even beyond this life, recognition remained. And that changes something deep inside this question. Because if memory continues, if identity remains, then what about love? Because this is where it gets even more powerful. In another moment, something extraordinary happens. Jesus stands on a mountain with his disciples, and suddenly two figures appear, Moses and Elijah, men who had lived centuries before, and yet they are recognized, not introduced, not explained. Recognized. How do you recognize someone you've never seen before? Unless something in heaven is clearer than anything we experience here. A kind of knowing, deeper than just sight, deeper than just memory. This is where everything begins to shift. Because maybe heaven isn't about becoming someone else. Maybe it's about becoming fully who you were always meant to be, without pain, without confusion, without loss. And that fear, that quiet thought that says, what if I forget them? Or, what if they forget me? Starts to lose its grip, because the truth is, you were never created for disconnection. You were created for relationship, for recognition, for love that doesn't just exist, but continues. And the Bible keeps pointing in that same direction. Again and again, there's a verse that says, to be absent from the body is to be present with God. Not lost, not wandering, not erased, but present, aware, alive in a way that's even more real than what we experience now. And then there's this promise that one day there will be a resurrection, not just spirits floating somewhere distant, but restored bodies, transformed. Yes, but still you, still recognizable, still real. Think about that, a body that no longer carries pain, no longer ages, no longer breaks down, but still carries your identity, still carries who you are. This is where many people get confused. They imagine heaven as this place where everyone becomes the same, where individuality disappears, where relationships dissolve into something distant and impersonal. But that's not what Scripture shows. It shows continuity. It shows recognition. It shows connection. And maybe the most important thing it shows is that love doesn't end. Because love is not just an emotion tied to this world. It's something deeper, something eternal, something that comes from God Himself. So if love comes from God, and God is eternal, then love doesn't just stop at death. It continues. Not in a broken, painful way like here, but in a complete, healed, and fully realized way. And suddenly that question changes. It's no longer just, will I recognize them? It becomes, what will it feel like to recognize them without pain, without fear, without the weight of loss? Imagine seeing them, and instead of grief, there's peace. Instead of longing, there's fulfillment. Instead of questions, there's clarity. This is where everything begins to feel different. But there's a harder question, one that many people carry quietly, one that doesn't always get spoken out loud. What if someone I love isn't in heaven? It's a heavy thought, and it deserves honesty, not fear, not pressure, just truth wrapped in compassion. The Bible doesn't encourage us to live in anxiety over things we cannot control. It invites us to trust, to hope, and to understand that God's justice and mercy are far beyond what we can fully grasp. He sees every heart, every moment, every story in a way we never could. And heaven is described as a place where there is no more sorrow, no more pain, no more tears. Not because those things are ignored, but because they are healed completely. So whatever heaven looks like in its fullness, it will not be a place of hidden suffering. It will not be a place where joy is incomplete or constantly overshadowed by loss. This doesn't mean your love for someone disappears. It means everything is brought into a perfect understanding, a perfect peace that we cannot yet fully imagine. And that might be hard to accept because right now your perspective is shaped by this world, by time, by emotion, by the limits of human understanding. But heaven is not limited in the same way. This is where trust becomes essential. Not blind trust, but a quiet, steady belief that the God who created love knows how to preserve it, restore it, and complete it in ways we cannot yet see. And slowly, that fear, that uncertainty, begins to loosen its grip. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not holding on to something that will be taken away. Maybe you're holding on to something that will be given back in a way that is even more beautiful than before. It's not lost. It's restored. Let that sink in, slowly, gently. It's not lost, it's restored. Everything that felt incomplete here, every goodbye that felt too soon, every moment that ended before you were ready, it doesn't just disappear into nothing. It finds its place in something greater. You were created for connection, not for permanent separation. Your heart was designed to love and to be loved in a way that reflects eternity. So that fear, that thought that says, maybe I'll forget them, It doesn't come from truth. It comes from the limitations of this world, where time fades memories, where distance weakens connection. But heaven is not limited by time. It's not limited by decay. It's not limited by loss. And maybe, just maybe, when you see them again, it won't feel like picking up where you left off. It will feel like stepping into something that was always meant to continue. A love that is deeper, clearer, untouched by misunderstanding or pain. Imagine recognizing them instantly, without hesitation, without doubt, not just by their face, but by something deeper, something that has always connected you. And in that moment, there's no awkwardness, no distance, no uncertainty, just knowing, just peace, just love, fully realized. And maybe, for the first time, everything makes sense. So hold on to this, not as a forced belief, but as a quiet possibility. A hope that grows gently within you. You do not lose who you are. They do not lose who they are. And love does not disappear. It continues. It deepens. It becomes whole. And maybe right now, wherever you are, you can take a slow breath and let these words settle into your heart. I release my fear of the unknown. I trust God's plan. I believe love continues. I am not separated forever. I will see them again, not in the same broken way this world offers, but in a way that is complete, peaceful, and eternal. And one day, in a moment you cannot yet predict, in a place beyond everything you've known, you will see them, not as a memory, not as a shadow, but as someone real, present, and fully alive. And you will know them, and they will know you, and everything that once felt like an ending will finally make sense as a beginning. So until that day, you don't have to carry only the weight of loss. You can also carry hope, a quiet, steady, unshakable hope. That love is not the end of the story. It never was. And if this message touched your heart, you can write "I believe" in the comments. And share this with someone who misses someone they love, because sometimes the reminder we all need is that what feels lost may not be lost at all.